Alright, what's up, you guys? Welcome to another Shark News episode, as today was none other than the MCM London Comic Con and practically concludes the last remaining G.I. Joe panel that we had for 2025. Therefore, we got some digital renders, but at the same time, we also got official product shots, which basically kills two birds with one stone. So that makes it absolutely incredible because now we don't have to really wait for the official product shots to come in terms of not the photography, but in terms of the figures with their accessories and stuff. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at what was revealed so far, and we will briefly talk about all these figures because I will be going live later this week. And then if you guys want to join the live stream, you can go ahead and do so, as we will go more in depth about these reveals and these figure releases, because we got some time and we got some new pre-orders coming in, which will be really exciting. So without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and talk about what is officially coming soon. So, when it comes to the G.I. Joe classified name only reveals, so aside from Iceberg and the Arctic Assault Hiss, which we knew were two figures that were already coming, Iceberg was already announced back during San Diego Comic-Con, and the Arctic Assault Hiss was also revealed during New York Comic-Con. Emily did briefly go over the details for the Arctic Hisstank, and there's one thing that kind of irked me about the panel that she said, and I'll just briefly talk about it. She said that when they were making the Haslab Hisstank, they knew that there was already going to be other Haslabs, or should I say, there were going to be other Histanks. So I don't want to say I'm upset or anything, but something about the wording really irked me because the way she said it was like something in the form of, we knew that there was going to be multiple Hisstanks to be made. Therefore, we knew that during the creations of the Haslab Hisstank. So I was like, so basically, when they were marketing the Haslab Hisstank, they marketed that thing to say, this is a one-time thing. You're never going to see it again. And I understand that terminology and that marketing in the sense of, it's the black version with the red and the stickers and then the tiers, et cetera, et cetera. It's the first ever. But that's what caused the intense FOMO. That's what caused collectors to be like, dude, this is a one-time shot. We're never getting vehicles again and classified within this scale. We're never getting vehicles at this caliber, so we have to go all in and spend that 300 or whatever it was for the money. And then during the panel, she goes, while they were making the Hisstank, so basically they knew at that time that they were going to re-release this Hisstank in different colors. So not to say that if we knew earlier or ahead of time that we would have not funded it, or would have been excited about it, but for those who weren't able to cough up that money, or for those who were stressing out about the Haslab, or et cetera, if only they knew that we were going to get other versions down the line, I think it would have broadened the horizons of like, hey man, like we're going to get more vehicles, not just stress out collectors saying this is a one-time deal, like you're never going to get a Hisstank again kind of deal. So I was kind of, irked by that statement. So I was like, okay, so basically now whenever the GI Joe team says like we're going to get other vehicle, like this is the only time you're going to get this vehicle, I'm just not going to believe them at this point. And even if it happens to be true, depending on what size and scale it is, but this time we can basically confirm that the Dragonfly and another Rattler will come at some point, even Snowcat. I don't even know. Whatever the hell's going on over there, I just, I wasn't too happy about that. But anyways, the next exciting figure reveal was, or should I say name only reveal, was Hydro Viper. Now, the funny part is we were just talking about Hydro Viper during my top 10 classified wish list for 2026. So now Hydro Viper is coming. So I already shared a lot of my thoughts about Hydro Viper. You guys know how excited I am. The mask should be incredible. The color schemes, we saw that the fins of the flippers of the torpedo or sorry, wetsuit figure had the M arch on it, so that was basically an indication to say that Hydra Viper was coming because Hydra Viper utilizes the same type of flippers or fins, or flippers. So at that point, I was like, okay, I think Hydra Viper was on the way, and now we just got Hydra Viper announced. So I was like, okay, purple, everything should be great. I shared a lot of thoughts on the previous video, so if you want to go ahead and check that out. Ninja Force Zartan was not necessarily a wild card, but it was a figure that I'm not too surprised. And to be quite honest, I don't really care for. As much as I am a Ninja Force fan, love my ninjas, a huge Mortal Kombat fan, Ninja Force Zartan with the orange mohawk or green mohawk, whatever the color scheme is, I don't care. Don't really care for it. Wasn't really my favorite thing. And I know there's also a Ninja Force Scarlet. Emily at the panel did say that there was a huge demand for Ninja Force Zartan, and I do remember a few collectors having to say that they want a Ninja Force Zartan. So for me, I don't really like double dipping on like character names and variants in the sense of like, I skipped out on Cold Slither, so why do I need a Ninja Force Zartan? Now, if this is for you, fantastic. If not, no harm done. So otherwise, we'll see how that one goes. And I think this will probably make, I don't know how many Zartans we have at this point, like 3, and then we have, Retro, the blue version, the regular version, and then Cold Slither, and now Ninja Force. This probably makes like 5 Zartans. That's crazy. Next, we have Zanya, or Zanya, however you want to pronounce it. We have another addition to the Dreadnoks. Now I think she's going to be such a hard-hitting figure because if you look at the design of her, like my first introduction to her was in the comics. So I loved her outfit, and plus I love her green hair. That's what makes her stand out against all the other characters. She has like dreads and they're colored like light green. So, and she just looks freaking like a badass. So I have no doubt that Zanya is going to be like one of the coolest classified females. And I always say that they always design the females to look absolutely incredible. So, well, except Lady J, but I think she's gonna look awesome. So I have no doubts. And the biggest highlight for me will be that hair. So I can't wait to see how that's gonna look. Then last but not least, we finally got the 2 figures that were to be announced at some point because we knew about these figures for the past half a year now. Taurus and Reddog are officially coming into the classified line, so we can eliminate them off the to be announced list, which basically leaves Flash to be the last remaining character that we were aware of, part of that leaked listing. So now that we have Taurus and Reddog, that's going to be awesome. Taurus and Reddog will complete the Renegades because we just recently got Sergeant Slaughter and Mercer. So we'll see how that turns out. I just hope they don't screw it up in the facial features department or accessories, etc., etc. But I'll remain optimistic as they are one of my 2 favorite. I personally would have preferred a 3-pack with Mercer, but who knows? It could still happen. So yeah, so Flash is the last remaining character, which also indicates that Grand Slam will also be the last the last 2 original 13 characters, but Grand Slam has not been announced yet, but I'm sure he will at some point. So stay tuned for that stuff. So that is the coming soon portion. We'll talk more about this in the live stream. All right, so as for pre-orders, which we'll do a huge rundown at the end. The first figure that we got revealed, which we already knew about, revealed at New York Comic-Con, but now already in product form, is none other than the female Crimson Guard. Hell freaking yeah. Now, it was already indicated a while back through collectors that she was going to be a retro carded one. Personally, I don't really care whether retro or regular square boxes. At this point, I don't give 2 shits about what's what anymore. As long as the figure looks cool, then I'm happy. So the retro Crimson Guard, or at least the female Crimson Guard, shares the same exact aesthetic as the regular male Crimson Guard. Vibrant reds, the silver Cobra logo, and then we got the silverish, I don't want to say vac metal, but silverish, whatever you want to call it, faceplate, which looks great. It's definitely in unison, so that's good. Helmet is fine. I was actually thinking a little bit more of also an unmasked or unhelmeted head sculpt. Accessories, all that looks great. Nothing too different to say there, but I would have preferred something a little more, again, just an alternate head sculpt to show her like what she looks like underneath the helmet. Now I know I always say that I don't like my figures to be unmasked, but in this case, if they're on a roll with giving us alternate head sculpts, but since this is a retro version, I'm not too surprised that they didn't do it, because chances are we could get an original, like an actual classified version, not a retro one. I'll make a video explaining the two differences later, but this looks fine. Again, I give it like a 9 out of 10. I mean, you can't go wrong with female army builders, especially Crimson Guards. So now this will go great with the Crimson Alley Vipers, the Crimson Bats, the Tomax and Zama and Baroness Crimson figures, as well as the regular Crimson Guards and then the retro Crimson Guards. So yeah, I mean, you're pretty much there. Huge squad, so that's going to be great. Next, we have Crazy Legs. Now, this was a figure that I've been highly anticipating for a very long time. Now, there's another thing that Emily said that irked me, and I'm kind of behooved by this. She mentioned that if you never got a chance to get your Haslab Crazy Legs, now is your chance to get this. So here's the thing: if the Haslab Crazy Legs was red and gray, and it was part of the Haslab, and if she goes, now this is your chance to get it, that makes perfect sense. But those are two different figures, and that one was part of a sub team called the Night Force. So how can you say if you didn't get that, you can get this? It's kind of like, I feel like it's a little bit of an insult, because it's just like, I know that this was more of a heavy want, because we knew 100% that this figure was going to come out from the Night Force version, but we also knew that people wanted that Night Force Crazy Legs too at some degree, because it was, it looked like a really good figure. But my thing is just those are two completely like different figures. You don't need to be like, you couldn't get this, now you can get this. It's more just like, I don't even know, man. At this point, I don't even, whatever. Anyways, so the Crazy Legs figure looks great. He has a new alternate head sculpt, I think. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, it's a different head sculpt. He has a angrier face. Helmet looks fine. Goggles, great. One thing that I'm gonna nitpick on this are the harness straps, and they just look like not detailed. And I know that the original version had the same aesthetic, in the sense of he had the khaki style colored harness for the parachute and stuff, which is cool. But I feel like they could have at least colored the clips and the buckles just a different color to kind of advance it for a 6-inch scale figure. But this is a clear indication and an example of Hasbro skimping out on details, which really does bother me, because again, I know that it stays authentic to the original, but again, a little detailing and coloring could have gone a long way. So otherwise, the angrier head sculpt of him jumping, or you can use him to jump out of the Haslab Dragonfly, looks great. Otherwise, it is one of my favorites, and we knew that this figure was coming. Therefore, I will be picking this one up just to, pay homage to my old original O-ring line. So I'm happy about this one. So nothing too crazy there. Great. It's fine. Backpack, weapons, etc., etc. It's fine. So can't complain. Now, this is pretty much going to be the only chance we'll probably get this figure, because since it is a retro carded Crazy Legs, I don't know. I don't think we'll ever get another one at this point, so we'll just take it as it is. So yeah, that's nice. And last but not least, we have none other than Zap. So Zap will be another figure to almost conclude the original 13, because we knew that Flash and Grand Slam will be the last two to complete the line or the team. So this figure does look pretty good. He's got the generic green shirt army builder style body, which is not bad at all. I mean, the greens are fine, the brown straps, the holsters, etc., etc., weapons, alternate hands, the bazookas, helmet, and all that stuff, missile carrier, etc., etc. So very cool. I mean, again, I have no objections to this. I mean, it's part of the original 13. Looks great. I will do a compare and contrasting with the original O-ring version, but I do like the mustache, and I also do like the hair. I feel like this figure also could have been substituted for like a younger version of Stalker. If that makes sense, that would have been a little bit cooler, because you know how the retro carded Stalker looked a little bit older, because the original first release was like an older looking man with felt like he had like gray hair and stuff, but the retro one could have had this face sculpt. But I think I mean, if you want to mix and match, cool, but I think this one's still fine for a Zap figure anyway, so no issues there. But again, very nice green, classic green, etc., etc. So we'll talk more about this on the live stream. But otherwise, we're getting close to the original 13, so cannot wait to see what's going to happen with that one. So all three figures will be going up for pre-order November 4th at 1 p.m. Eastern time. We still have not about a week and a half-ish, more than a week to, have these to talk about these figures. So nothing too crazy there, but these will probably be the last pre-orders for 2026. So let me know in the comments below which ones you'll be more excited for, because for me personally, since I barely have any of the original 13, I kind of cater towards being more selective and buying the figures that I loved growing up as a kid. So I'm no longer a completionist, so I think the only one out of this lot will be Crazy Legs. Otherwise, the other two I can really wait on for the long run, so no issues there. So yeah, pre-orders November 4th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I'll be sure to provide links, but we still got a long time for that to happen, so I'll be sure to do reminders and stuff. These three figures are also on display over at MCM London's ComicCon, so I think there's also images over on Hisstank.com if you want to check that out. So go ahead and do so, which will be pretty great. And last but not least, these are the official reveals that we have so far, or the only names or figures that we know of so far at the moment. So the three figures with the female Crimson Guard, Crazy Legs, and Zap will be eliminated off this list on November 4th once they go up for pre-order, which will basically make us go back to the four figures we knew of before, which was Arctic Lady J, Frostbite, and Flint, which isn't coming out till later next year as part of the Haslab Snowcat, and then the Royal Guard, which we still have the render for. So even though this is a brief update in regards to what we know of so far of everything, we will eliminate these first three that you see in the front off the list by November 4th. So that's pretty much it for that. Otherwise, once again, pre-order November 4th, and let me know in the comments below which figures you're excited for, and let me know out of the coming soon list which figures are you excited for, because again, we have Hydro Viper, Ninja Force Zartan, Zanya, Taurus, and Reddog. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys all for watching. Thank you for subscribing to the channel and supporting the channel. Stay tuned for an upcoming live stream later this week, and I'll talk to you all in the next episode. And if anything else happens that the G.I. Joe team reveals by any random surprise, then I'll be sure to make an updated video. So once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode.